I do have to ask, though, because it's gotten so much recognition, especially in recent years with, the Critics' Choice Award last year and with the resurgence on Netflix and kind of this cult following. Why did you decide to end it after 6 seasons?
Because that is always how we had intended to end it. And part of me feels like the success of the show is really just a representation of the hard work that went into it. And I wouldn't want to compromise the creative integrity for the sake of, success. Because I really respect the show so much and I care so much about it. And I would hate to overstay our welcome just because people started liking it. I would rather go out on top with people asking like, how are we ever going to get more of this, than be the show that you're sort of thinking like, I liked it until season 3. Then things got weird. So I really feel like the 6th season of our show is a celebration of everything it stands for, and is a celebration of the fans. It's our thank you to the fans, and hopefully a loving tribute to all those people who watched us for 6 years and took that time out of their lives to spend 80 episodes of TV hunkered down in front of their computers or televisions, and choosing to take that time to spend with us.
I love that, and I feel like the show itself really is a big celebration of love, and I really love, kind of funnily enough that you mentioned season 3, I love that when you kind of got to the point that you were really diving into David's pansexuality and really normalizing that. Do you think that it airing on Pop and then the success on Netflix gave you a flexibility that you may not have had if it were to air initially on cable television?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think to be on Pop and to, they were an upstart network and we were a very small show, and I think that pairing was really wonderful because they really believed in us, and without reservation. So to be able to tell the kinds of stories we wanted to tell without any kind of interference is something I know we would never get on network television. I mean, even the number of times I kissed my boyfriend on TV would have to run through this algorithm of network executives. So the clarity and the intention, I think, would not have been the same. And it really is, it's amazing to look back on how this all happened, because I wouldn't trade it for the world. And I think everything happens for a reason. And it's surreal.
And how important do you think the success of this show and really showing that the positive aspects, because I know you've spoken before about how you don't want to show the bigotry, you don't want to show the other side of it. How do you think that is going to potentially influence other shows to hopefully kind of take heed? Do you think it will?
I hope so. I hope that by painting a world where people feeling free to love openly, and that being supported and met with more love, will have a positive effect on... I mean, I know that it has, just from the viewer feedback we've gotten, and how conversations are changing in people's homes. Parents are having chats with their kids about sexuality in ways that the parents had never understood, but by watching the show, they were able to understand just how transformational love can be when you don't apply any kind of prejudice. I think we're seeing a rise in feel-good television. I think... even just politically, we need joy. We need joy around us. And I don't think it's a coincidence that we started to see a real big turn in our fan base when the politics in this country shifted. I think from both sides, people on both sides are feeling very disoriented. And I think to be a place that just celebrates joy and happiness and love and support is something that people of any sort of denomination or political belief have found some sort of solace in.
So do you think that the actual current sociopolitical environment really influenced the direction that you took the show?
No, because we never wrote anything in response to, but I do think that by continuing to stand firm in our sort of thesis of like, this will be about love and acceptance, that people have found it and really, found comfort in it. So I just think it was a coincidence that the show and what it stands for sort of corresponded to or happened in the same time as this sort of big political upset in the country, and provided a place for people to go and feel okay for half an hour.
So I think probably fans who feel that deep connection want to know, myself as well, what's next? Can you say what you have on the books coming up?
I think for me, the show has been my number one priority from day one. I love it so much. I respect it. I respect all these characters. It's taken everything out of me. And that's not to say that I don't have a list of things that I have been working on in the meantime, but I think until the show is done, this will be and continue to be my priority, and I'm excited to see what comes next. I think there's some really fun things, but I think what I've realized in the process is that everything I do will have this kind of heart to it, and will have a message that, we're not just putting out something to put it out there. We're putting it out there because we have something to say, and we can hope to continue to spark conversations and dialogue out there and affect some kind of positive change.
I love that the goal of your company is to create real impact when your company is called Not a Real Company Productions. I have to ask, has that ever given you any trouble, like on taxes? Or?
Well, at first, when we were in the first season of our show, and you're trying to like lock down a location, and the person's saying like, I'm sorry, what's this show? And it's like, the show's called Schitt's Creek. Okay, and what's your company? It's called Not a Real Company. There were a few eyebrows raised, but I think once people started realizing that the show was legit, it became sort of, people just went with it.
Did you ever regret making that choice? Why did you name it that?
We thought it was sort of funny. I think we actually named it because we never had any expectations that the show would get any bigger than just a first season. We really just thought, well, it's not a real company, let's not worry about it. And then here we are, still not a real company. I think when I get my own production company, I'll have to change the name. But for the time being, it's nice for my dad and I to have that company together.
Do you have plans to continue working with your dad at any point?
Who's to say? I mean, I hope that I can continue to work with all these cast members in the future. I think the beautiful thing about having such a lovely experience with everyone is that, for me, I hope to continue to just create things that I can pluck all of my favorite people and cast them in it. So, and I think some of our cast are like, please give me some work, and that's great.
So how important was that for you too, to show that not only that the Roses have been influenced by all of the people of this community, but really showing that they've made their mark on the community as well?
So important. I think for me to know that the Cabaret musical, which Moira was directing, was actually good, was such an unexpected surprise, because I think everyone went into it with sort of lowered expectations, and I think to show the best in our characters and show that these people put the time and effort in and that good things come. I think particularly for Stevie, we had built her whole storyline around this last episode, and to know that she succeeds and that she shone bright that night is something that will trickle into sixth season and has really changed, I think, the character. So I was very proud of Em. She did a really tremendous job.
I can't wait to see season 6. Now, I do have to ask too, we're here for the For Your Consideration event. If you could be nominated for only one Emmy for this show in one category, what category would mean the most to you?
Probably writing. Just because I'm really proud of some of these episodes, and I think they have something to say, and I think as funny as the show is, it's also quite meaningful. So, I guess writing. You can never pin expectations on awards, though, but in a perfect world, yeah.